What's up, listeners, and thank you for joining us on Rainbow Hollywood. I'm Caleb Law, and we're going to dig into this week's update. So let's get into it. The HBO star on becoming the sole lead of The Last of Us saying goodbye to the working with Pedro Pascal, shutting out online trolls and trying to save the world, one plastic bottle at a time. Bella Ramsey decided to treat the day like any other. Eat some oatmeal, listen to some music, go to hair and makeup, and then watch Pedro Pascal get beaten to death with a golf club. I almost went out too far and made it too normal and pretended it wasn't happening right up until the moment where it did happen, Ramsey recalls. That's how I approach scenes like that. If I think about too if I think about it too much, then I've got too much anxiety and stress about it. Besides, uh, besides, Ramsey figured the Last of Us character, the strong yet stubborn apocalypse survivor Ellie, didn't have a chance to mentally brace herself before seeing her beloved surrogate father figure Joel get violently murdered. So when the moment finally came, with Ramsey sobbing and pinned to the floor, it all it all just came out. Ramsey wasn't one weeping. Emmy winner director Mark Mylod, a veteran of Game of Thrones and Succession, has spent months preparing to shoot the complicated sequence and assumed he would be immune to his actors' emoting. By the time we get to the day, I'm so prepped and I've run the moment so many times in my head. But Bella took it to a level where I was just destroyed, Milet recalls. It's difficult to think. It's just acting because it was transcending that. Yet for Ramsey, it was relatively easy day on what was otherwise an utterly grueling shoot. The most intense scenes to shoot are often the easiest for me because I know exactly what that scene needs to be, Ramsey says. The British actor had been anticipating in a particular moment since they were cast on the heels of their breakout role in HBO's Game of Thrones. Um, Game of Thrones, where Ramsey played the scene-stealing Lyanna Mormont. Ramsey's performance during the first season of The Last of Us, which boasted HBO's high-rated premiere since Thrones, earned then an Emmy nomination. Season 2 is based on PlayStation's 2020 game The Last of Us Part 2, which likewise traumatized players with Joel's sadistic execution and was considered a divisive title, not just because of the murder, but because players were suddenly shifted from playing a traditionally heroic male video game character to play a young lesbian. Developed by The Last of Us co creator Neil Druckmann, the creative shakeup was a bold move amid a game that continually found ways to challenge the player's assumptions and perspective. The point of this story is that the entire concept of the protagonist is flawed, explains showrunner Craig Mazin. The entire concept of villain is flawed. Our way processing the world through heroes and villains is a mistake. It ends up creating those barriers between people that shouldn't be there. For Ramsey, who has explored their own identity, coming out as a non-binary when promoting the show's first season, the beating sequence marked some major personal shifts. First, it was the beginning of the saying a workplace goodbye to Pascal, with whom they formed an extraordinarily close bond axis. Close bond across two seasons of filming in British Columbia and Alberta. Understanding the limited time me and Pedro together has made us really cherish each other move, Ramsey says. It was something that we got quite emotional about while we were shooting. We'll be in each other's lives forever, and we'll be in each other's hearts forever. Another shift was that Ramsey became the show's um another shift that was that Ramsey became the show's sole star. The 21-year-old has been open about their struggles with anxiety and recently revealed they were diagnosed with autism while filming the show's first season. Playing the physically and mentally taxing part of Ellie was already demanding enough before the added responsibility was placed on Ramsey's shoulders. But the actor has never been afraid to step up, whether on screen or off. An avid environmentalist, Ramsey has a green writer in their contract. Typical celebrity writers make demands related to an actor's comfort, such as a swank trailer, high quality food, and luxurious accommodations and transportation. A green writer is less self-serving but more ambitious. Ambitious. Requiring sets to embrace across the board sustainability. It covers every department, and the producers have to adhere to certain things. And so does the actor, Ramsey explains. Both parties have to be accountable for being sustainability conscious throughout the shoot. Making sustainable choices on set should be built into the very fabric of the production because it's not that difficult. A push for sustainable choices is particularly appropriate on The Last of Us, a show whose very first scene suggested the apocalyptic plague unleashed on humanity was due to global warming. The global warming. Global warming. Still, becoming a show's top billed star took Ramsey to another level. I would never consider myself a leader, Ramsey says, but there's something that happens when I'm given responsibility where I really like the feeling and I take responsibility very seriously. I'm very happy to lead a set and have a lot of influence over the tone and dynamic, especially given there's preconceived ideas about a young person who's number one on a call sheet. For Ramsey, this meant trying to tear down workplace hierarchy, making sure that everybody felt comfortable and welcome, seen and heard. Because I've been in many situations in my life and conversations where that hasn't been done for me, Ramsey says. While Ramsey doesn't specify any jobs experiences here. They quit the series The Worst Witch after 3 seasons in 2019, later saying they developed an eating disorder while filming and wanted a change of environment. Everybody should know they're valued as a crew member, as a cast member, and that we're all equals, Ramsey says. Yet season 2 was a very difficult year for the actor in many, many ways. The story picks up 5 years after the events in the first season, which was aired in 2023. In the game, Ellie is dramatically physically transformed in part 2, which is easy enough to do when painting a digital figure, less so if you're an actual human. Ramsey was put through intensive physical training, such as boxing, jiu-jitsu, and weight training. Once filming began, Ramsey alternated between shooting and stunt training. Their work, in other words, was nonstop. The efforts allowed Ramsey incarnate a tougher, more assured Ellie. It was cool to feel really capable, Ramsey says. But I got quite fixated on the way that Ellie looks in the game and her physical stature, and, to be specific, the muscle definition in her arms, and I didn't like that. My body type isn't that. I talk about this a lot with Craig, and he never put that expectation on me. He wanted me to look strong and feel strong, and that wasn't how I carried myself. My posture and the confidence you have. It was a challenge for me to let myself off the hook for not looking computer generated. Not helping matters the fact that the game characters, Metamorphosis versus real life Ramsey, has been a point of obsessive fixation among fans online. Even a casual dive into an X and Reddit can uncover next level cruelly aimed at the actor for not meeting the unrealistic expectations. A few months ago, Ramsey deactivated their social media accounts. I always knew that I'd deactivate it one day and never even really wanted to have social media in the first place, Ramsey says. It wasn't like this big dramatic thing, but there was an element of it that was thinking about the show coming out for season 2. If I just avoid Twitter and Reddit, which now I'm doing, then everything's totally fine. Yet watching the season, Ramsey has greatly evolved in many ways. The episodes call for Ramsey to play just about every possible note, from comedy to horror, to action to romance. As Mason puts it, I'm not interested in the physical aspect, I'm interested in the emotional maturity and a change in personality. I've watched Bella grow and start to find her own 2 feet. And I feel that in Ellie completely. Sorry. Or as Pascal put it, Pascal puts it, the evolution of Bella's Ellie from season 1 to season 2 reflects their own development of independence. It wasn't an independence learned or formed, but one that was always there and given permission from themselves to live freely. There are scenes to come in a season, which, with one in particular that we won't spoil, where Ramsey stuns, I was scared of her, and I didn't like her, and I didn't want her to do what she's doing, Mason said, recalling when the moment was shot. I look at her, and she's breaking my heart. I'm just like, Mason trails off, marveling. I'm telling you, Bella Ramsey. It was from chatting with Mason during the first season that Ramsey discovered they were autistic. Craig has an autistic kid, and so we were talking about that, they recalled. And Craig and I share quite a similar brain in a lot of ways. He would talk about it as if we already knew that he was on a spectrum somewhere, and that I possibly, I mean, that I probably was too. I was like, huh? Cool. Huh, cool. I better get this checked out. And then I did. And it was a great feeling. The diagnosis explained why Ramsey struggled during certain situations, and it enabled the actor, as they eloquently put it to British Vogue, to walk through the world with more grace towards myself, about not being able to do the easy everyday tasks that everyone else seems to be able to do. So much The Last of Us Season 2 takes place in extreme environments, with Ramsey cold, wet, and money. Well, since Catherine called Birdie, she was started. Sensory hypersensitivity can be a nightmare for an autistic actor. Having to wear the waterproofs underneath my costumes was absolutely atrocious. Um, Ramsey says. I had to make light of it on set because otherwise I was going to go insane. We'd say, oh, I'm tweaking. I had to try and pretend that it wasn't happening and distract myself. But sometimes I literally rip off my waterproofs at lunchtime. Being tired for me also always amplifies my autistic traits. That was a challenge as the months went on. Yet Ramsey's toughest scenes wasn't fighting or swimming or being cold or miserable, but a deceptively simple shot from next week's episode where Ellie weeps over the loss of Joel. I really struggle with crying in scenes. I can get a tear out, but that's different from that's different from but that's different from than crying. What eventually worked, Bella Ramsey recalled, was a big iron pick. I remembered the happiest of memories that I've had with Pedro, Ramsey says. The thing that is always the saddest to me is remembering the happy things. I was remembering us the first few times we met and shooting season 1. I was remembering all of that and through the lens of losing him. For an actor who sometimes feels like they're carrying the weight of the world when at work, Ramsey also cares for an enormous amount about sustainability when off clock. Talking about the topic with Ramsey doesn't go like you might expect. There's no Greta Thunberg style self righteousness or data dumping. Just the earnest concern of one of the young actor trying to do what they can to make things better. Ramsey got green pilled fairly young when they started to question why summers were getting hotter in the native United Kingdom, and there was less snow in winter. I've only been alive 21 years and I've noticed such a shift with the effects of climate change, they note. They went on to study environmental science via the United Kingdom's Open University. Hollywood. Ramsey believes isn't doing enough on this front despite its ultra progressive reputation. I come to LA and I see fridges full of plastic water bottles, and I'm like, what are you doing? They said. It's bizarre to me. I don't know if any industry is particularly doing enough, but Hollywood is an industry which has a lot of influence. The return of Donald Trump and the return of Donald Trump to the White House, and with it his orders withdrawing the United States from the Paris Agreement, and targeting state and local climate laws are quite terrifying, Ramsey said. Ramsey says, can I swear this? Can I swear in this story? We're fucking ourselves over. The planet will be okay. We won't be. When I point out that many feel rather hopeless on this subject, that too many people seem too wired for short term gratification to make the sort of global changes necessary to dramatically reduce carbon emissions. Belly replies, I understand the feeling of hopelessness, and I've also felt it. But I think that a way of wrestling with that to implement the small changes in your own life. And if the big policy makers aren't going to do anything, at least we, as a global community, can try. And with all of these small changes that we make, millions of small changes that have a large impact. Ramsey, of course, isn't only fixated on acting in advocacy, advocacy, I mean. When not on set, they're often doing normal day-to-day stuff. They shop, they hang out with friends, they love rock climbing. So long as they are, doing something. I'm not somebody who can lay in bed or do nothing, Ramsey says. And with their The Last of Us duties coming to an end sooner than fans might like, Ramsey is considering what might come next. I haven't got any specific ideas in mind, but I just want to make sure that the future characters I play feel different to Ellie, Ramsey says. Not because I don't love playing Ellie, but I want to have a new challenge. I want to be scared of a project and a character and not know whatever I can do it. That's the dream. Another Panon citizen has been cast in the next installment of the Hunger Games film franchise. Mckenna Grace, she's my favorite. She will star as Macily Donner, who is Haymitch Abernathy's fellow District 12 tribute in The Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping, which lands in theaters on November 20th, 2026. The film is an adaptation of the author Suzanne Collins's recently released bestseller, the latest in her run of dystopian YA novels. The Ghostbusters Frozen Empire star will join Joseph Zada and Whitney Peak in a growing cast. Zada will star as District 12 tributes Haymitch Abernathy, while Peak will play his girlfriend Lenore Dove Baird. Grace is also set to star in Blumhouse's highly anticipated sequel to Five Nights at Freddy's alongside Josh Hutcherson, Scream 7 with Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox, and she stars alongside with an all-star cast led by Diane Lane in Anniversary. The film will be directed by franchise veteran Francis Lawrence. Woody Harrelson will play an adult Haymitch in the original trilogy. Collins' prequel was released on March 18th, depicts Capitol's second quarter quell set between the events of the Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes in the Hunger Games trilogy. The sixth big-screen Hunger Games installment, Sunrise on the Reaping, follows the 2023 Songbirds and Snakes adaptation, starring Tom Blyth and Rachel Zegler. The Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping will be in theaters on November 20th, 2026. Angela Bassett isn't ready to let go of Bobby Nash. Weeks after Peter Krause's beloved 911 character sacrificed himself in the April 17th episode, Bassett says she is still in shock. Speaking with People at the 2025 Met Gala on Monday, May 5th, the actress who plays Sergeant Athena Grant Nash and Bobby's wife on the show hasn't fully accepted the loss. I am I'm in the mourning, she admits. I'm so sorry, so sorry. It wasn't my choice. I don't know. She then offers an encouraging message to fans. Keep hope alive. Maybe he'll return in my dreams and, my memories. After starring in all 8 seasons of the drama series, 59-year-old Krause says goodbye when Bobby, the department fire captain, uses the final antidote for the Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever to save Chimney. Bassett and Krause have played Athena and Bobby, who wed in season 2 since the premiere of The Procedural in 2018. When they first learned of his devastating fate, which Bassett called the inconceivable, she said that they just looked at each other. When your eyes just locked and you don't know what to say, and you just hear bear hug each other, and then you just shake your head. She told the Hollywood Reporter. And bless this heart, he had to comfort all of us. He truly had to comfort all of us while he's going through his own processing in a moment. She later took to Instagram to pay tribute to Krause, sharing a photo of 2 characters hugging along with the sweet captain. For 8 seasons, this kind, funny, compassionate, and talented actor became not only my trusted colleague, but also a dear friend. Peter Krause as Bobby Nash helped to introduce 911 to the home and hearts of fans around the world. I know this is hard for all of you, it's hard for us too, Bassett wrote. Shortly after the episode aired, Krause told The Hollywood Reporter that he was sending love to his co-star and friend, gushing, I will miss my partner Angela Bassett. Her strength and her sweetness, and us holding hands, he added. We parted ways too soon. He further explained the sudden exit in a statement to Variety, calling the move more than a bold creative choice on a bold show. Bobby Nash was written in sacrifice and he was built for this. First responders risk their lives on the job so that others can see another day, Krause explained. His story arc honors them. 911 can be streamed on Hulu. Child actress and model Millena Brandão, who appeared in the Netflix series Centonia, had died at age 11. The preteen died on Friday, May 2nd, after falling ill. However, her cause of death remains unknown, according to her parents, Thais and Luis Brandão. Thais told Brazilian news outlet G1 that since April 24th, her daughter started experiencing severe headaches, leg pain, drowsiness, and a loss of appetite. Millena was taken to see a doctor but didn't receive a proper diagnosis. She had a headache, but she could walk and talk. The doctor said it was dengue fever. The doctor said it was a dengue fever, but he didn't do any tests. So he told us to take her back home and give her Dipirone, her mother told the outlet. Thace explained that Melena's pain worsened so much that she couldn't walk. They returned to the hospital on April 26th, but she was ultimately sent home again. 2 days later, Millena fainted in her bathroom at home. She regained consciousness after her frightened parents rushed her to the hospital. She put her hand on her head and screamed in pain, Thace recalled. Oh man. Millena was admitted to the hospital. However, the following morning she suffered cardiac arrest. Her lip turned purple. Then they resuscitated her and intubated her. From that day on, she never woke up again, her mother told the outlet. They said in a CT scan revealed a 5 centimeter mass in her brain. However, there was no neurologist on site to confirm whether the mass was a tumor, cyst, edema, or clot. During that time, her little girl's health deteriorated. She got worse, with 2 to 3 cardiac arrests per day. She had 13 arrests in total. She had never had that before. There was one day when she had seven arrests. Sometimes they gave her messages and other times they gave her shocks, her mother recalled. Doctors ultimately declared Millena brain dead. I said that if we were to let her little heart stop beating on its own, we would suffer more, and so should we. And we asked for the machines to be turned off, Thace said. On Saturday, May 3rd, Thace announced Melena's death in an emotional Instagram post, sharing a post of her daughter with angel wings and a halo. An open letter to my little girl, she wrote in the caption. On May 2nd, we lost our little girl, but I'm sure she's in the arms of our Almighty Father and in a beautiful place to play. The memories we spent together will remain in my memory, and I'll never forget your joy that was contagious to everyone around you. My girl, I'm already missing you more and more not having you here, and I know I'll miss you even more in the days to come, she continued. You are the light in our lives, and I know that from up you'll continue to watch over us and light up our lives. Sorry. And I'll love you forever, and you'll always be in my heart. Love you, my girl. SoundCloud has issued an update to its terms of service days after the music platform had caught heat from musicians and advocates over a previous update on its policy and artificial intelligence training. In an open letter published Wednesday, SoundCloud in an open letter published Wednesday, SoundCloud CEO Elias Sentim wrote that the company has never used artists to continue to train AI models, echoing a statement that SoundCloud representatives shared with The Hollywood Reporter last week. Not for music creation, not for large language models, not for anything that tries to mimic or replace your work. Period. Sentim wrote. We don't rebuild generative AI tools, we don't allow third parties to scrape or use artist content from SoundCloud to train them either. The backlash comes from a February 2024 update to SoundCloud's term of service to say that users explicitly agree that that your content may be used to inform, train, developed, or served as input to artificial intelligence or machine intelligence technologies or services that as part of the and providing for for providing the services. That update started making that rounds last week, drawing the ire of musicians wary their content would be used to train generative AI models, similar to SoundCloud's initial statement last week. Seton said in a letter that the platform updated its terms and service to clarify how we meant to use AI internally to improve the platform for both artists and fans, citing functions like improved search, playlisting, and content recommendations. Seton said Wednesday, however, that the language in that update was too broad and wasn't clear enough. It created confusion, and that's on us, Seton wrote. That's why we're fixing it. Per the letter, SoundCloud is making another update to the terms of service saying, we will not use your content to train generative AI models that aim to replicate or synthesize your voice, music, or likeness without your explicit consent, which must be affirmatively provided through an opt-in mechanism. An opt-in mechanism. The old language will be stricken. Seton said that if there's an opportunity to use generative AI for the benefit of our human artists, we may make this opportunity available to our human artists with their explicit consent via an opt-in mechanism. Our position is simple. AI should support artists, not replace them. Any use of these tools on SoundCloud will continue to reflect that, Seton said. AI is going to be part of the changing landscape of music. It brings new opportunities but also very real challenges. That's why our approach will always be guided by a single principle: artist first. SoundCloud's move comes in SoundCloud's move comes as AI remains one of the most contentious issues in the music and entertainment industries, as undiscovered by the concern following the ouster of copyright register Shira Perlmutter over the weekend. While the change addresses some critics' concerns, it hasn't seemed to appease that all the critics. Ed Newton Rex, the founder of the nonprofit music advocacy group, Fairly Trained, tweeted Wednesday that the update doesn't go nearly enough. Their new terms will say that they won't train generation AI models, train gen AI models that replicate your voice style, but they leave the door open to the much more likely gen AI training. Models trained on your work that might not be directly replicate your style, but that still compete with you in the market. Newton Rex wrote, yeah. If they actually want to discover concerns, the change re- um, if they actually want to address concerns, the change required is simple. It should just read, we will not use your content to train generative AI models without your explicit consent. Oh, yeah, I mean the consent. Right. Kate Hudson is the star in the music video for Finneas' 2001, which the super producer released on Wednesday. The music video sees the Finneas play an actor pining for Hudson's love and attention as he stars in her intergalactic film. Throughout the um, throughout the clips, Finneas sings the lyrics to the tracks while chasing after Hudson, who doesn't pay him much mind. Um, I can't even though it says, "Honey, where you running from? When you're coming back to bed, toss and turn it all night long with me instead. Honey, where you running from? What the hell you headed to? Do you look like a way I run into you?" He sings throughout the song. Um, while Hudson starred in a music video as a director, 2001 was actually helmed by Phineas's girlfriend, Claudia Sulski. I can't even pronounce Claudia's last name. Who was inspired by the 1968 film of the same name, 2001: A Space Odyssey. When I first started, uh, when I first started this music video, I knew I wanted to pay homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey with nods to some of the film's iconic setups, like the the fisheye lens and the upside down sequence, along with a few little Easter eggs from the behind the scenes of the film. Suleski says in a press release, to play off Phineas's lyrics, I wanted to mix in some light, cheeky moments between Finneas and Kate. An actor hopelessly to um an actor hopelessly in love with his director who wouldn't care less and is only focused on making a great film. 2001 hails from Finneas' second audio album for Crying Out Loud, which also include um, which also included fellow tracks Family Feud and Lotus Eater. Aside from his music, Finneas notably picked up 4 Grammy nominations at the 2025 awards ceremony, all stemming from Billie Eilish's Hit Me Hard and Soft. The record picked up a nod for the coveted album of the year, as well as for the song slash record of the year categories. The superstar shared the news along with the trailer for the film on Wednesday, which also features snippets of the song. Rihanna will release her first song in over 3 years this week, as the superstar is dropping the song Friend of Mine for the upcoming Smurfs movie. The superstar shared the news along with the trailer for the film on Wednesday, which also features snippets of the song. Rihanna will um, Rihanna is starring in a new Smurfs film alongside John Goodman, James Corden, Nick Offerman, and Sandra Oh, and she's a producer on the wall. And she's a producer on the project as well. Friend of Mine drops May 16th, while Smurfs will hit theaters July 18th. Chris Miller was tapped to direct the movie, which focuses on the Smurfs venturing out to save Papa Smurf after he was kidnapped by the evil wizards. This is the first Smurfs movie since 2017's Smurfs The Lost Village. Friend of Mine is Rihanna's first song since 2022's Lift Me Up, which she recorded for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. That song hit number 2 on the Hot 100 and went platinum in 2023. Fans have clamored for years for a full-fledged comeback from Rihanna, who remains one of the biggest pop stars in the business despite not releasing an album since 2016. And while that still might not be on the immediate horizon, they'll settle for the new music in any form. Rihanna confirmed last week at the Met Gala that she is pregnant with her third child with rapper ASAP Rocky. ASAP Rocky, showing off her baby bump as she closed down the the gala's red carpet. It wasn't her first time confirming a pregnancy at the high profile event, having debuted her second pregnancy during the Super Bowl halftime show performance back in 2023. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for this week. And we'll be looking forward to the second season this fall on Rainbow Hollywood because I'm going to be off throughout the summer. Bye.